Hi and welcome back to our channel. So it's another Wednesday and today we're talking about some big magic, but most importantly we're talking about breaking up with Fearless. Not the Taylor Swift album. Get out of your head, that's not what I'm talking about. I mean, kind of, but not really. So this idea of fearlessness. No, we've heard it. There's quotes everywhere. There's literally probably a typography graphic that you've screenshotted that says something about being fearless. Don't lie to me. If it's true and you don't have to out yourself, you would just like the video, it won't out you. You could subscribe just so you know that you're not alone, because I've probably screenshotted and or made that graphic before. I apologize. We're still learning at Dream on Youth, so we're very sorry. So today I'm gonna reference Big Magic. I will probably reference this book a million times more. As well as a few other books that I've read that I love that helped me break up with some of these ideas. So Big Magic helped me break up with fearlessness. Like, I was like, done with that, because I realized, especially in this season, I came back to that idea because it just felt like I was going through the motions. Like, I was excited, but like that same fire that I used to have when I first started Dream on Youth wasn't there. And even though we had more people, it's the most people we ever had, and we had like all these cool things going on, it just, something felt off, and it kept feeling very off. And so I kept trying to figure out what it was. It turns out I wasn't scared anymore. I was complacent. And you have to be careful about that with fearlessness. It can feel a lot like, oh, I'm not scared anymore. But really, honestly, it could be that you're just complacent, you're comfortable in the position that you're in. And so there's not that fire there anymore. Like, you're going through it, you're still great at what you do, it's just, where's the joy that you once had for it, you know? So I need first, for people to get this, first I need you to go grab this book, because it's probably on clearance at Books A Million, or in a Goodwill, or if it's not a Goodwill, it's in a used bookstore. Go get the book. But anyway, that's not why. What I need to happen is for us to break up with this idea that courage is the absence of fear. You've seen the cheesy quote that I'm sure someone's gonna say, that's so cheesy. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is doing things in spite of that fear. So I made an analogy, I've made this video like a few times, my camera's died on me multiple times, I don't want to talk about it. But I said, basically, it's like you're in that student driver car. If you have your driver's license, you know what I'm talking about. And you have the driving instructor in the car with you. There may be somebody else in the back seat, but it's like you and the driving instructor. If you're like me, I think we had one other person in the seat, but you know, when you start driving, like, all you can think about is how there's one person and there's all these other cars and too much is going on. So I said, it's like you're driving the car. Of course, the car is your life, as cheesy as an analogy is. It is. So you're driving a car, and it's like fear, if you allow it to, wants to be the driver. So it's the driving instructor. It's got that brake, you know, that, I hate that brake, by the way. I think that may be why I'm nauseous, like if there's a lot of stop and go, and like, so you like going and stopping like a lot of that traffic, because that like legitimately makes me sick and I don't get car sick. Maybe that's why. But yeah, so it's like fear is constantly making it stop and go and like pressing on the brake pedal every time like you have like this wild crazy idea. I apologize, that was my shoulder. But it's like you have this great idea, or you have this big wild dream, and like there's a million things that could probably go wrong, there's a million things that could go right, but fear is just like, whoa, 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 what are you doing? And like slams on the brakes, and you're like, wasn't going that fast, but whatever. What you need to do is think of fear as a child, maybe your niece, your nephew, maybe you have a child. Think of them as that child, or if you don't have children or ever want children, think of them as a pet, and like they need to go in the back seat, preferably in a carrier possibly, but they need to stay in that back seat. They don't need to get up in the front. Think of them as a pet or that child in their car seat in the back. Yeah, they may make some noise. Maybe they'll ask you where you're going a million times. Are we there yet a million times? Maybe they'll just keep barking at like random things and scaring you. Whatever it is, they're gonna make a lot of noise in the back. It's not that you have to completely ignore them. Obviously they're still there, you can hear them, but it's just that you don't need to let them drive. Fear is not an adult. Let's put it that way. Fear is not an adult. Fear is a very, 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 very tiny child that can't talk yet. That's how you need to think about it. Like, it's gonna gab and sing and cry and whine, but it's your life. You get to drive it. You get to decide what you want to make, and you don't have to do it in spite of fear. Fear can be in the car with you. It just doesn't need to be the driver. It doesn't need to be helping you drive. It needs to be helping you, okay, yeah, this is some scary stuff. I can acknowledge that I'm a little scared, but that's what it needs. It needs to stay tiny. Let that fear stay tiny. It doesn't need to be absent. You just can't let it control every single thing that you do. That's where where the fault lies, is when we let it control everything that we do, or that we no longer have that fear, or that, it's gonna sound weird when I say this, that anxiety can be a good thing. I get like bouncing foot. All of my team knows this from the past like 6 years. I have a good idea and my foot starts bouncing. I can have that same foot bounce like in a very stressful situation. But I typically take my foot like bouncing, like it like literally shakes like this. I don't know, it looks like I'm on something, unfortunately, but that's what it's like. And so I always take it as a good sign. I'm like, okay, this is a good idea. I got you. This is a good idea. And then sometimes that idea fails and I just need to wait on it. And sometimes I try that idea multiple times, but it keeps failing. I'm like, you know what, we're gonna scrap this and start fresh. And sometimes that idea is like a wild success. And I'm like, why is it still going on? We haven't been really doing much with this, but people seem to still need it and love it. Okay, I'm okay with that. And I think it's a good thing. I think that weird anxiety bouncing foot or anxious foot is a good thing. Maybe you have one of those like little quirks too. If you do, leave a comment down below, because I totally want to know if I'm the only one that does the weird foot thing, or if there's another quirk that you have that you know it's like a good idea, but it looks like you're anxious and like something is wrong. Yeah, I need to know I'm not alone. Help. So another thing I want to take out of this lovely book is there is a page, well, I think it's just like a chapter on page 174, and it talks about done. It talks about done being better than good. I may have changed what that means for me, but basically instead of putting done is better than good, I think of it as done is better than perfect, because I'm a recovering perfectionist. Hi to all of you out there. If you're a recovering perfectionist, go ahead and like this video, because I know I'm not the only one. But done is better than perfect. For me, I always like to have like a solid plan in place before I act on everything. I'm gonna tell you right now, the latest launch of Dream on Youth was kind of like, I had a plan and then the plan didn't work, and so I like had to finesse it. And so I was like, people are gonna get mad at me when I say this, because I know certain people are gonna be watching this video, but I may have done the launch like as far as like the visuals and the copy part of it that I didn't already have written down in a very short amount of time. And if you know me really well, you know that like I can make myself sick doing that. It came out really well. It's just, I had self-care. I took a self-care day after that, but I'm just saying, I don't advise that, y'all. Don't do that. Listen to me, do not do that. Be self-aware. Know that you're procrastinating, or that you are waiting on too many factors and need to just like be firm. It's one of my other problems, be firm with it. But basically done is better than good or perfect, however you want to look at it. My thing, how to think about it, is you need to be disciplined and persistent in that discipline versus being polished, because a lot of times when I think of perfection, I think of very polished, has everything together, very like everything's neat and orderly and nothing goes wrong. That's what I think of when I think of perfection. Anybody else with me? With this idea of letting go of fearlessness, I also had to let go of perfection, which also like makes me think of fearlessness. Like, I don't have any fears, I'm perfect, yada yada, or I'm trying to be. So yeah, don't do that. Nobody's perfect. It's fine. People may look perfect on the outside, but I guarantee you there's something in their life that is like faltering and they're kind of freaking out about it just a tad bit. They may not show it, but we're all human and we all have hardships. And the last thing that I want to ask you to ask yourself today, this week, is, do you have the courage to bring forth this work? So do you have the courage to go out and do these crazy wild things that you're imagining, this crazy awesome work that you want to do, this, and I am using the word crazy in a good context. You heard when I said crazy last time and I was like, I don't like using that word, but like I said, I want to change the narrative, so why can't I say it's crazy good? It's crazy awesome. It's like a wild amount of awesome. That's essentially what I'm saying. You can do this. Just have the courage to do so. Let fear be in that back seat and sit there like a little whiny baby. It's fine. You'll learn to tame it. It's fine. It doesn't mean, maybe it has to be the driving instructor for a while. Maybe it's always been the driving instructor and you just need to be like, okay, driving instructor, I can drive my car now. And like, you need to get in the back seat, go by, and go away now. Please stop. It's gonna be okay. You can do this, you've got this. If there is a certain chapter or section in Big Magic that you like really love and love to share, put it down in the comments below. I don't wanna spoil the whole book. So if you see one that you already really like, just like comment on that one and then we'll continue our conversation. But yeah, what do you want to know for next week's Self-Worth Wednesday video? What are you feeling? What do you want to go with? I'm sorry for the car noise. What did I say? Backing up. But I am leaving. So, gonna go. Have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Wednesday. I hope to see your selfies and your tweets and your Instagram captions. Hashtag Self-Worth Wednesday, of course. You guys have an awesome week. Bye.